Hi everyone, it's Jerry. Who posts up on social media in the winter? Meet me in Washington Square Park. We'll play some chess in the rain. The answer, 20-year-old 7'3" basketball star of the San Antonio Spurs, Victor Wembanyama. People showed up, games were played, and we're going to have a look at one of his games in this video and see if we can figure out just how tall Wembanyama is in chess. What is his playing strength? What is his rating? Never an easy task to assign a rating based on just one game, but we'll try. There will be clues along the way, and I'll be providing some basic tips as I go through this one. It's a pretty brief game, only a 24 mover. Who is playing? On the white end, Dylan, a chess.com staff member, has a blitz rating around 1800. Wemby here, the alien with the black pieces. So this one kicks off with one e4, king pawn opening. This game was played on Saturday, December 28th, 2024. Why was he in town? Well, the previous day, the San Antonio Spurs defeated the Brooklyn Nets. No clocks used for this game, so players were moving at a rate of one move every ballpark 10 seconds. What does the Frenchman here play against 1 e4? Well, e6. Of course, the French defense. For those who may be new to chess, that's not a joke. That is the opening we're working with here. We continue with knight c3. And now from here, d takes e4 is on board. This is the Rubinstein variation of the French defense. Sort of a clue that we may be looking at a beginner player, even though it is objectively fine to make that capture. It's just a clue. And I say this because there is a tendency for beginner players to immediately resolve tension in a position. If I can make a capture, I'm making that capture. That sort of mentality. Follow up from here is f5. Now, on that one, I got a call. Just a 30-second timeout. Technical foul on f5. And here's the reason why. It's not because it's too aggressive or anything. It's that this e-pawn is now backward. This e-pawn is kind of screaming, why did you do this to me? No longer has pawn support, and it's going to be a future target now for these major pieces along this half-opened e-file. And this bishop may even have some fun as well. There's also a nice outpost square on e5 for white pieces. These are squares that can no longer be under control now by a black pawn. Not the end of the world. Black is not going to lose some material because of this. Just a technical issue. Now, a fine reply here. Knight returns to its favorite square. All knights are looking just fine, nice and central. And from here, bishop g5. Normally, a fine way to follow up, throwing the knight in a pin. In this case, it's not going to be best. Has to do with this pawn, in fact, being on f5 in this situation. A better idea, bishop c4. Pressure on that weak pawn. All right, in this game, bishop g5 it is. Follow up now, h6. Trying to wiggle out of this pin situation. At this stage, best is to either take the knight or withdraw the bishop along this diagonal. In this game, it is bishop h4. Normally, that is the correct knee-jerk reaction to h6. Keep the pin. But in this situation, it is faulty. Black is now in a winning position. Continuation is with g5. We're already maybe even seeing somewhat of a pattern here. This is the third pawn move where black is pushing a pawn to attack a minor piece. Aggressive play here. In this case, the g5 move is fully justified. Black will now soon win material. One way or the other. One of these two will be tracked down. The reply here is knight takes pawn. White sacrifices the knight for two pawns, and a bishop pin is still present in the position. The alternative of bishop g3, the bishop gets squashed with f4. It's stuck, it's trapped. So in this difficult situation, probably the best practical decision for white, move played in the game, sacrificing a knight on g5. There we go. There's still an uncomfortable pin on the f6 knight. You move it, your queen is toast. How to get out of the pin? Well, bishop h6, a perfect follow-up move. Pin is maintained in this case. From here, bishop d2, check. This is a nice, forceful way to get out of this pin. I must admit, though, when I initially saw this move, I thought, was it really such a wise decision to play this move and allow the queen to be helped, developed? And there's queenside castles, but a quick second look at it, it makes perfect sense. We're trading dark square bishop. Black no longer has to worry about a knight being pinned. From here, queen g5, up until this point, how black has played it, pretty much fine. Aside from the f5 move, black is in a winning position here. Blunders start to occur, however. This next move, rook e4. Now, if this move was played online, you could maybe say, well, was that a mouselet? Did the rook really mean to capture the pawn, but this was played over the board? Rook takes d4 would be a fine move here. Rook e4 is played in this game, missing that there is knight captures rook. So this lets white off the hook. It is white who is in fact now the better side. Tension between the queens. We get some checks thrown in there. Black can now forget about ever castling. Follow-up from here is f3. Next up, knight takes d4. So at this moment here, I initially thought that this was a clever move. Focusing here on c2, I'm not quite sure how to read this move. I don't know if this threat wasn't recognized at this stage. You'll see what I mean in just a couple of moves from now. This is a good move if white ends up capturing on e4, but that's sort of hope chess. In the game, white follows up in a perfect way. White goes with queenside castles, defends c2, and throws the knight in a pin. There's no hope for black after queenside castles, really. Here's the detail. If white captures on e4 here, the knight's going to take on c2, and this is a fine continuation. You took my knight, I'm going to be taking your rook shortly because of the fork. But we have, in this position, queenside castles, and now this knight is in big trouble. There's no way out here for black. What's tried from here is knight e2 check. I don't know if this was maybe hoping the king would move. If the king moves here, there's only two legal moves. If the king moves, there's queen takes rook, and that's ball game. But there is bishop takes knight. So piece down for the count, and the queen is under fire, which is missed next because the knight hops into f2, landing a fork. And there goes the queen with check. And after rook f1, the knight is stuck. So this is already gonzo pretty much for Team Black. No matter where the knight goes, it's going to be tracked down. All of these squares are covered wherever the knight goes. Normally, a material balance position, if you're in such a situation, you say, all right, I'm not even going to spend time making a knight move. I'm going to improve my position elsewhere if it's just going to be captured anyhow. But in this game, the knight moves to e4, and the knight is simply captured. So this was a big oversight. A couple times here on the e4 square, once with the rook, missing that there's knight captures, and now this pawn captures on e4. So maybe a blind spot in Wemby's game here on this e4 square. Now there's a really nice photo taken at this moment in the game here by the Spurs team photographer, Reginald Thomas. He's taking this one in stride. This is moments after he blundered the knight here on e4. Yeah, clearly missed that the knight can be captured. So there's no way out at this stage. I must admit, he seems to be just a fantastic person on and off the court, really taking this one in stride. So this game finishes up in just a few more moves. We got a check, and then in the end, a checkmate with bishop h5. So what rating Would I give Wemby here based on just this one game? I'm going to go with 1100, maybe 1200 on a good day where there's more attention to not hanging pieces. There were a few cases where that occurred. I'm giving a lot of weight to the bishop d2 move with check unleashing this discovered attack against the bishop. That was a good way to get out of that pin. Yeah, 1100, 1200 on a good day. However you slice it, we're still pretty much looking at a rookie player, a beginner player, but one that is certainly coachable, let's say. A couple lessons and these errors are easily remedied. Anyhow, what are your thoughts on this one? Feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.